we heard, and you heard him coming in, Tim Legler was on this show yesterday, and he said, presciently, if we are talking Tyrese Maxey tomorrow, meaning right now, today, if we're talking Tyrese Maxey, good for the Sixers. If we're talking James Harden, bad for the Sixers. Guess who we're talking about? James Harden. You know what he could have thrown in there? Doc Rivers. We'll get into that later. But here is James Harden at the post-game press conference.
I think I can be a little bit more aggressive. They did a really good job of just boxes and elbows, showing their bodies and crowding the ball when ball screens came. So we'll watch film, find ways to get better. But I think, the shot making is what opens up the floor for our entire team. We make a couple shots, then that floor opens up a little bit more.
A little bit more aggressive, Max and Key? The dude shot 4 shots in the second half.
What?
4 shots in the second half.
What?
He shot 13 shots overall. 7 of those 13 shots were three-point shots. How about this? Key and Max, do you remember that time when Harden once scored 30 or more points in 32 straight games?
Yeah.
Seeing him score 30 would be shocking these days.
He did that in one straight game now.
It would be shocking these days. And this is what I said to you guys yesterday. We will be talking more so about how James Harden has become exposed more so than we're talking about all the great things that James Harden does. Look, physically, he is not the same James Harden from multiple years ago. He does not have blow-by speed. And first off, P.J. Tucker played with him in Houston, knows how to guard him better than probably anybody else in the NBA. And by the way, when they did target the right players for him to attack, i.e. Tyler Hero or Max Strus, he still couldn't blow by them. He took step-back threes against these guys. And look, I give Miami a lot of credit. Their defense is like a torture chamber. I saw what they did against Trae Young. They're doing the same things against James Harden. And look, this.
What are those things, Jay? What are those things when you say the same things against James Harden that they did against Trae Young?
When he turns, he sees multiple bodies, right? So when you have Matisse Thybulle in the game, when Victor Oladipo is guarding him, he's not guarding Matisse Thybulle. He's sitting a foot in the paint, kind of hedging at James Harden. So he's seeing multiple people, and the natural tendency is to pass and kick. But the 76ers shot 18% from the three-point line last night.
So he settles for a bad shot or just keeps dribbling.
Yeah, or they settle for three-point shots, and they weren't making them last night. That's why they lost.
Look, Jay, do you think I hear everybody say, we can't blow past people. We can't do that anymore. Can't do this anymore. It's been 2 years. Well, last year with the Nets, he certainly looked pretty good at times. And then this year, some in the playoffs, early series, he looked okay. That last game we saw him, he looked like James Harden. Is it in his mind that they're playing him a certain way, that he's not being aggressive? Or do you really honestly think he just doesn't have that step anymore where he can't go past people? Because I look at it as both. I look at it as some situations he doesn't have that athleticism that he may have had once upon a time. But at the same time, I think it's playing in his mind that he can't get past him.
I don't know, Key. It's like those old guys when you go to the YMCA. Like, they don't have the blow-by speed, but they beat you with their strength. Like, they out-muscle you. Like, I feel like that's what James kind of does. Now, he had a bang the other day where I was like, whoa, James Harden had a dunk coming down the lane.
Yeah.
But, it's probably more in alignment with how you're articulating it, Key. It feels like when you watch him play, though, it's still shocking because he's a shell of himself, of what he used to be, and the body just looks different, man.
Guys, remember what Legs also said yesterday? First of all, Harden, Key, in not this past regular season, but the previous one, so it's like a little over a year ago, I thought was the best player easily, game for game, in the NBA in the regular season. So that's a whole lot of slippage, right? All of a sudden, and to the naked eye, it doesn't look so bad, like what just happened. And Legs was talking about if he loses 10% of his explosiveness, then add, go from 2 or 3 dudes who can defend him to another 25 dudes in the league who can defend him. And it's like half of those guys seem to be on the Heat. Right, and that's what he's running into.
And Key, my man, remember those days like we would get annoyed watching Houston games because James Harden would be averaging like 13, 14 free throw attempts per game. He doesn't have the same blow-by speed, which means he's not getting to the free throw line the same. I mean, he only shot 4 free throws last night too. Like, that's where a lot of his points come from, drawing contact, stopping, getting to the free throw line.
Or could it be that the league, the coaches on other staffs have caught up to his style of play in terms of the step back and the way he would try to blow past people, so they're putting their guys in a different position to defend him, Jay?
It's also key. It's the fact that shout out to the Miami Heat. All year long, I have been overlooking this team. Max, you and I have talked about Jimmy Butler being the number one option. Do they still have some scoring issues in their droughts? Yes. But Tyler Hero coming off the bench, dropping buckets. The way they switch everything defensively between P.J. Tucker and Bam. Bam exposed them last night. It's just they are one of the best together teams we have in the NBA. And this is what this year of basketball is to me. The Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors, the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, the best teams collectively, 1 through 7. That's who's going to win this world championship.
By the way, having a guy like Spoelstra, like Doc, and we're going to get into Doc a little bit later on, you have to pay attention to detail and be able to make adjustments through a series, right? And Doc has blown a lot of leads. He's had a lot of leads. That's great, but he's blown a lot of them. Spoelstra is, look, the attention to detail on the Heat, because they don't have a super-duper talent on that team. They got a lot of guys who can play, and they're extremely well coached.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.